Okay, Graham, once again, it is time for, apparently, as you're titling it, Silent Film School. So I'm happy to be the teacher, and I'm happy to kind of continue this if you're willing and if you're open. That's the key word here, open, okay? So what we're going to go with for this installment of Silent Film School, you're going to watch Die Nibelungen, which is a 5-hour fantasy epic from 1924, directed by Fritz Lang.
What? I don't have time to watch that.
What? You haven't got time to watch a 5-hour silent film for this?
I mean, look, I'm invested. Yeah, but like 5 hours, man, it's hard to squeeze in. Can we get something a bit shorter?
Okay, well, we'll get to it. We'll get to it. It's early days. Maybe I was a bit too presumptive. You're not quite ready for that. That's okay. That's okay. All right, fine. I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll watch another Buster Keaton film. Go to your Buster Keaton Massive Cinema short films collection and pick out The Scarecrow. It's another film that stars the same leading actress he had in 1 Week, which you looked at last time. Most of his other short films he has kind of generic leading ladies who all kind of look the same, but Sybil Seeley had this kind of aura about her, a bit more playful, and I really enjoyed the films he did with her, and The Scarecrow is one of those few films, so definitely give that a look, and then you're going to dive into a feature film. And it's only appropriate, considering you just watched Sunrise, for you to check out Wings. Wings is undoubtedly over 2 hours long. You're going to have to get used to stuff like that with silent films, but it is 2 hours and 24 minutes well spent. This is also the first ever Best Picture winner at the Oscars. Sunrise was also the Best Picture winner at the Oscars, but it won most, or Best Artistic Production. This won Best Picture, I suppose. So I think it's good for any film fan to see both of the first Best Picture winners. This is a World War I war movie about these two pilots and their kind of journey together. It's really quite incredible because there are a lot of flying scenes, and instead of getting stuntmen to do these scenes, they actually got the actors to learn how to fly a plane, stuck the camera on the front of the plane, and sent them up in the air to get this incredible aerial footage that's real. But beyond the kind of spectacle of these incredible scenes in the sky, it's about the characters too, and there's some really interesting uses of camera in this film. Not quite to the level of, say, Sunrise. You kind of spoiled yourself a little bit, or I guess I spoiled you a little bit with that first choice, but there's definitely a lot going on with this, and it's a really damn good film. Definitely worth watching and worth saying that you've seen, I think. There are a couple of different scores. I would go with the one with the sound effects by Ben Burt, which is kind of quite bad for anyone who's a purist, but it's not too bad with the sound effects. I think the score's very good too. Anyway, get cracking, and I look forward to hearing your thoughts.
Okay, look, so you gave me another Buster Keaton short movie, The Scarecrow, to watch, and I have got to say, I really liked 1 Week. I absolutely adored The Scarecrow. I had a smile on my face the full time watching it, and it's one of those movies that just makes you realise that these things, the short sort of epics, and I call them epics because the amount of effort going into it is terrific, don't really need much of a story. In fact, it's a loose frame just around basically Buster Keaton's antics. This one starts off with one of the greatest title screens I've seen yet, you know. All this house's rooms are in one room, and then you cut into these two guys sharing a house, and everything's on strings, and there's cabinets that double as other things, and just for a sheer production value, I thought it was cool as hell. I just thought, wow, what are they going to do next? They'll have a bookcase that opens up into a fridge. They'll pull these strings and all the utensils for the table are dropped down, and with everything that happened, I just gave a little chuckle and thought, that is fantastic. The sheer inventiveness that went into this set design was outrageous, and the characters take full advantage of it, and I thought it was terrific. It was really funny, and I thought they're going to spend this full short in this house, and I don't care, I'm going to love it. But eventually they move out and they bring in a sort of love interest and the two guys fighting together, and that's where it kind of moved into the more athleticism that the sort of 1 Week had, where the two guys are kind of doing these crazy stunts. Like one of the more particular ones that I liked was running around the sort of frame of a house that's derelict. And how often do you see like a dog go up ladders? I mean, that was cool. I just thought it was funny. It's a chuckle. These are light-hearted, fluff pieces of entertainment that are made to do one thing, entertain, and they do it effortlessly and continuously. I had more laughs in this 20-minute short than I've had in some comedy feature films. It is jam-packed, all the fat is taken out, they're slimlined, they're amazing. I want to delve into more, but I just don't want to jump ahead because I like the way that you're doing this kind of setup. So yeah, another 2 thumbs up. I think I like this one more than 1 week actually, just because of that amazing set design. It needs to be seen to be believed. Okay, so we're going to move on to the feature movie Wings, 1927, 2.5 hours, half the length of Denis Belugan, thankfully. I am willing to get to that at some point, but you know, let's baby steps. So Wings is basically about 3 characters, maybe 4 you could stretch it to, but definitely 2. I'm just throwing out numbers here, really, am I? So it's about Jack Powell and David Armstrong, 2 guys that kind of love or have a crush on the same woman in a small town. Now we have Jack's just your regular body, we have David who is kind of a sort of rich boy, has a little bit more of a leisurely life, an easier kind of life. And both these guys really like Sylvia. And Sylvia really likes the attention. You can see that when Jack comes to her and she kind of like leads him along, but she's not interested. Her heart belongs to David. Now, there is Mary in this as well, and that is Jack's next door neighbour, and she adores Jack, and he just can't see it. It's the typical story that you've seen before. And you kind of know from the start where that's headed. You know, he should be with Mary, he kind of loves Sylvia, but Sylvia loves David. It's that kind of thing. And then World War I starts, and you have Jack and David enlist in the Air Force, and they become pilots. And then the women are kind of forgotten about for a little bit. Mary joins the army as well as a nurse. But other than that, Sylvia is completely forgotten about in the movie. It focuses on these 2 guys, and you suddenly realise that this is a relationship drama about 2 guys. 2 guys who come from the opposite ends of town, who have a sort of distrust and dislike for each other because of this love squabble that they think they're having. But they get mutual respect for each other, and they become sort of brotherly love. They have that affection for each other, trust. We have David, who never wants to hurt Jack, never wants to tell him the truth about Sylvia, and kind of perpetuates that lie, and Jack's just so oblivious to the fact that Sylvia and David are together. He's always saying to David, you know, like, I'm going to marry her, I'm going to do this, and this was sort of like the biggest heart of the movie, and where I really found myself getting drawn into it. Then you get these aerial battles. Now, I'm not really too sure what I was expecting, but I wasn't expecting to be as compelled and drawn into the action as I was. There's like scenes of the guys like shooting, and I think it's kind of rotoscoped on the kind of orange flame of the bullets getting fired. Some of the aerial stunts are fantastic. I was captivated, and we know from the cover, from the plotline, that it's all about these pilots, but it drags it out. It doesn't jump straight into the planes. It lets the characters build first. It even gives you a fantastic shot, one of my favourite of the movies, of a shadow of a plane moving across the barracks, which I just absolutely loved. And I was like, are they ever going to show you a plane? So by the time they get into the aircraft, you're ready for it. You're absolutely 100% ready for it. And the movie plays out as a kind of anti-war movie, showing you the real havoc and chaos that it causes, and how it can forge friendships, break friendships, ruin lives. It really does. It felt like an anti-war thing, especially when the 2 guys are going off to war, and you see their parents in the sort of solemn, as if they're going to lay their children to rest. That's them, you know, that they're joining this war. They're pretty much going to die. They have death sentences on their heads. The love story comes back into it later on, and I like that aspect, but I sort of concentrated more on the 2 guys. One of my favourite scenes in the movie, it wasn't a fighting scene, it was basically Jack drunk and seeing bubbles everywhere. I thought it was inventive, I thought it was fun, captivating, I was giggling at it, it looks terrific. I really like the way they do the kind of special effects back then. I think they're just terrific, they work out really well. And overall, I was into Wings. I found myself leaning in deeper to the screen, captivated by what was happening. And the real magic of these movies that I'm discovering so far is how rich the characters are and how much focus is put on them and their story. And it's a kind of lost art. This one definitely had more intertitles than Sunrise, which I found a little bit jarring at first, but I became attuned to it. It's all about being open to it, as you say, and allowing it to experience new things. The movie, you kind of know where the plot's going, but then you need to remember that you've had 90 years of movie history to regurgitate this plotline, and back then this could have been, yeah, very original. Like you say, look, this won the Oscar along with Sunrise, so I can cross them off my list. I think this is really good, and I'm going to give Wings 4.5 out of 5. I really enjoyed it. There was one aspect I didn't like, and that was the recruit from the Netherlands who has the American tattoo on his arm, who's constantly getting berated. He can't do anything right. He's like a bumbling fool, the typical bumbling foreigner. That started off quite funny, and then when they started to repeat the gag, it began to become a little bit grating on me. That's the only down point I can say about the movie. I think I preferred Sunrise, but again, this is 2 for 2. They're terrific movies that I will go back and watch again. And I like this one, like you said, the score with the sound effects. I think that added to the movie immensely. The Eureka disc is another fantastic one, full of loaded extras I'm still trying to work my way through. But yeah, look, bring on the next one. I can't wait to see what you're going to suggest next. Please put another Buster Keaton short in front of it, because I am loving those as well, and I am ready to move on to part 3. If you, like me, don't know much about silent movies and are interested in checking out some of these, I've got to say Luke has got some fantastic content in his channel that you really need to check out. And at the end of this video, there'll be a little subscribe link to just pop over there, have a look at some of his stuff. I'm sure you'll subscribe. It's great. So thanks for watching, and I will see you next time on Man vs. Film.